Why so blue, Kansept? Oh, that's why. That's what we're going to look at today. Hang on just a second. Alright guys, this is the Kansept Bulldozer, and I think this is going to be the only video we see about it. It's just not a knife that I can get behind. I mean, it cuts really well, but the fact is that it's just not the best in hand for me. So we're just going to do the full review. So over here are some specs. Because I've actually carried this for a few days, I was going to do a first impression. I'm like, I don't think I'm doing 2 videos on this. So I carried it for a few days, and I'm not happy with how it feels in hand. You do have a really nice, big, broad, wide blade, but there's so many other things that are just at a detriment to this knife. So first things first, let's get some stuff out for some comparisons. So I think the first one is going to be the CJRB Centros. So Centros, not a small knife, you can see. I just wanted a comparison from a fairly thin blade to a fairly broad blade. This does cut really well, I have to say that. So there's your first one, the CJRB Centros. So let's bring in the next one, which is a fairly long knife in the Spyderco Endura. So you can see Spyderco Endura is a little bit, probably about a 1/4 inch longer. And so for our final comparison is the Chris Reeves knives Sebenza. So you could see, you know, those knives are all similarly sized. This is not a small knife. Nice big broad blade, fairly long. On the mat, like I don't have the spec sheet in front of me, but on the mat, just a little bit over 8 inches, 8 1/4. So not horribly large, but it is a fairly large knife. So let's get this out of the way and we'll start looking at some behind the edge thickness, blade stock thickness, and some weight. Let's look at some blade stock thickness and some behind the edge. So behind the blade stock thickness, 0.1, sorry, 0.1275-ish, 0.13-ish. I'm going to say that's probably 0.125 is probably what they have it listed at. These are not the most accurate calipers. Behind the edge thickness, however, 0.02, let me see, am I right behind it? 0.023 for blade stock thickness, or behind the edge thickness. So it's not super thick behind it. It's nice and thin, but the thing it does do is it transitions nice and wide. So let's get the scale and do look at the weight. Scale, let's take a look at the weight on this. So in ounces, you're looking at 4 1/8 of an ounce. Actually, I think it's probably just 4 ounces. It keeps coming up with the 1/8. I don't know what it's doing. Maybe it needs new batteries. In grams, 114, 115 grams. I don't know what's up with my scale. I don't know what's wrong with it, but let's get this out of the way.
Guys, I hate to interrupt the video because I know we're having fun, but I do have to do the YouTuber thing and remind you that this channel is self-sponsored with all the affiliate links and stuff you see down below. Anything from knives, tools, EDC gear, and Blade HQ, anything, all the Amazon links, they all support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything at checkout. So I'll talk about that at the end of the video. Now let's go back to the knives.
Take a close look at this and I'll tell you about this knife and why I would not purchase it. So there's a lot of people are going to say there's nothing wrong with this knife. For me, there's just too many negatives. I'm not going to bother trying to carry it for another week or so when I know it's just going to wind up being bad. First and foremost, deployment sucks. It is a front flipper only. You guys know I don't like front flippers. And it's a front flipper. It is in a liner lock, which typically I don't mind as much, but it's a really broad blade on a narrow handle. And so for me, it's awkward to get a grip on it and deploy it. It needed thumb studs. This knife needed thumb studs. I was going to get a set of those like screw-on thumb studs so I could give it every opportunity. But then I realized I don't like the handle either. So let's talk about the good points. Good points. A nice broad blade comes down. It is very acute. It's sharp. It's so sharp. It just screams through anything you want to cut with it. Nice, like I said, broad blade, transitions down well, nicely done. It comes down to a very good, I would say this is like a modified sheep's foot, if you wanted to get into it, because it's kind of rounded. It comes down. It's not real acute like a Warrenclyffe, but you know, at this point, those blades are so similar that you're just arguing semantics at that point. So it does cut really well. You've got this really nicely done handle. I'm not a fan of blue. There's only been one knife that came in. It was the O knife Drever that came in this blue composite that I did like. On this knife, it doesn't work for me. But it is well done. The G10 on this is really well done. There's no hiccups in it. There's no issues. Access to the lock bar. Access to the lock bar is really good for unlocking it. They gave you enough space, and it's broad, and instead of chamfering it out, it's still fairly narrow in there. What they did was they lowered this down so you have more purchase on that. And I will say that the lock bar tension on this is fairly stiff. Like you gotta push out on it. Now, why that's important? If your lock bar tension is kind of weak, sometimes you can have lock slip issues where putting pressure on it this way allows it to slip because it just doesn't engage as hard. This, no issues with that. It's not going to slip. When you do flick it, it's good action. It just feels awkward in my hand. I feel like it's going to come out of pocket. The handle on it is really thin, and so it feels awkward. And it's not just that it's thin, it tapers. So the farther back you go, the less material there is, which is kind of out of sorts with the way most people do it. Usually there's a little bit more material back here, and it gives you a more secure grip. It feels better. This knife just kind of feels like it's going to come out of my hand. It's like holding onto an icicle, because here and here it definitely thins. Even if it's slight, it definitely thins. So those are a couple of things. And so when I have it in hand, with it being that slim, it feels like it rolls in my hand. It just feels like I'm holding onto a broomstick. It's a little too thin. And then with it being that thin here, they have done this with this pocket clip that comes up. And so I wanted to point this out. Like this pocket clip almost doubles the thickness of the knife. So let's go ahead and do a measurement real quick. This is what I want to look at. I want to look at, so from here to here, you're looking at 0.048. So just shy of a half an inch, right? From here, you're looking at just shy of an inch. 0.072 is not just shy of an inch, but like I said, you see the absolute crazy how thick this is. It's uncomfortable. I tried to give it the benefit of a doubt. I tried to say something nice. I just don't have anything nice to say about the way the handle is done on this. It's too narrow. It doesn't have any shape to index. It wants to roll around in your hand, and then they've put this huge pocket clip on that. So this is one of those knives. From here up, beautiful. From here down, it's a nightmare. I'm not a fan of it at all. The reason I'm even doing this video is because sorry about that before I decided to trip over the power cord. The reason I started this channel was to allow you guys something, like if you have questions about knives. Am I trying to say this is a bad knife and no one's going to like it? No. I think if the handle was a little bit different, it would be better. Maybe even just taking off this pocket clip. But I have too many issues. The problem I have with not at least telling you that I have some issues with it detracts from a reason that I started the channel, which was a lot of people don't have access to get to see these knives before they purchase them, and so a lot of people are going to have opinions similar to mine and like similar to mine. Now, if your opinions don't line up and you absolutely love a front flipper only with a really skinny handle and an obnoxious pocket clip, well, then this might be right up your alley. So I'm not saying don't buy it. I just want you to be able to fly into this a little bit I want you to be able to have a little bit of some preconcepted things that might be issues with this knife. It just does not feel great in my hand, which, like I said, knives are tools that are uncomfortable won't get used, and therefore they're a waste of money. So I hope that this front flipper only fad starts to fade, because this could have had a shot. That would have been at least one good point. So far on this knife, the only good thing about it is the fact that it comes down nice and thin and it cuts. So it's not a bad knife. It's really well made. It's got a lot of things going for it if it just was a little bit more thought out. And like I said, these pocket clips, let the effing designers start to make and design the pocket clips. And if you're just making an in-house design like this Bulldozer, I think that this is an in-house design. I don't think anyone but Kansept made this. Have a designer make you a pocket clip for it, because if you're not a knife designer and you like, I would have a hard time putting this clip on anything if I made a folder. Let the people that know what's comfortable design the pocket clips. I'm fully convinced that a lot of times the people that are putting these renders together and designing and putting these clips on these knives, never carry a knife. Like, they just don't have a concept of what that actually feels like in hand. So, yeah, sorry to be a Debbie Downer, but that's what I got on this one. So let's go ahead and turn this around and do some final thoughts.
That's it, guys. Yeah, I didn't have much positive to say about it. I thought about not doing it all, but sometimes it's better just to at least get my opinions out on it, because there are a lot of other people that share my same opinions and my taste in knives. So if it helps you make an informed decision on purchase, I'm not saying it's not a good knife. I'm just saying it's not a good knife for me. So if it helps you make an informed decision, all the better. So like I said, they're all just my opinions, though, in the big scope of things. Guys, if you like the videos, give them a thumbs up. If you don't like them, give them a thumbs down. Please try to tell me why. I can't change the content if you don't tell me what you don't like. If you want to support the channel, it's as simple as like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, hit the bell icon. But if you do hit the bell icon, make sure you get notifications turned on your device, or you will not get notified of the 9 videos, 3 live feeds, and 5 shorts that go up every week. It's a big schedule. If you want to support the channel financially, however, there's a handful of ways you can do it. First and foremost, I have a membership down below. It's tier-based. Pick a tier that gets you what you want. Everyone saves $5 off my sharpening service. Everyone has access to my Guilded server. Baseline and premium tier members are automatically entered into a giveaway that I do on the Guilded server, and premium tier members have access to a sharpening tutorial series that's just locked up for them here on YouTube. Other ways you can do it is I have got a ton of affiliate links down below. Anything you purchase with those affiliate links does not cost you anything extra. It just gives me a portion of it at checkout, and it directly supports the channel. So I've got all kinds of stuff: knives, stones, tools, gear, Blade HQ affiliate link, so you can find some of the knives that are here, VPN, and Coffee Brand Coffee. Please support Coffee Brand Coffee. It's a good company, and they have a good product. Everything that they are making right now, as far as profit, goes back into the company. And the final way is I have a merchandise store on Ember Shirt Co., where you can pick up my merchandise or any of the other creators' merchandise at a discount. I can save you 10% at checkout with the coupon code CrazySharp, capital C, capital S, CrazySharp, all one word, saves you 10% at checkout. If you send me pictures of you wearing my merchandise, I will put them in a video. Guys, that's it. I love y'all. Keep it clean in the comments section. If it's your birthday, happy birthday, and I will see you in the next video. Kansept, please don't get butthurt. It's an okay knife, just not a knife for me.